The Kamakura period, part of Japan's medieval history, spanned approximately 150 years, beginning when Minamoto no Yoritomo established the shogunate in Kamakura, marking the rise of samurai rule. In the later years, Japan faced an existential threat from the Mongol invasions, a formidable force that had terrorized the world. However, a combination of samurai governance and a fortuitous typhoon led to a successful defense. Eventually, dissatisfaction among the samurai and the imperial court's efforts to overthrow the shogunate culminated in the fall of the Kamakura shogunate. The establishment of the Kamakura shogunate. In the late Heian period, the Minamoto clan defeated the Taira clan in battle. However, as Minamoto no Yoritomo rapidly expanded his influence, a cloistered emperor Go Shirakawa grew wary and granted official court ranks to Yoritomo's half-brother, Minamoto no Yoshitsune, leading to a rift between the two. Although Yoshitsune was instrumental in the Taira clan's downfall, Yoritomo, who aimed to establish a military government rather than serve the court, could not tolerate Yoshitsune's allegiance to imperial authority. Fearing rebellion, Yoritomo resolved to eliminate him. Although the emperor ordered Yoshitsune to suppress Yoritomo, Yoritomo sent troops to intimidate the court and forced it to acknowledge his authority to establish and appoint shugo, military governors, and jito, estate stewards, to oversee the provinces in 1185. Yoshitsune sought refuge in the Tohoku region under the protection of the Oshu Fujiwara clan. Viewing this as an act of treason, Yoritomo annihilated the Oshu Fujiwara, thereby extending his control over the entire Tohoku region. Upon the cloistered emperor Go Shirakawa's death in 1192, the court appointed Yoritomo as Sei Taishogun, solidifying the Kamakura shogunate. From the Minamoto to the Hōjō clan. The Kamakura shogunate was built on a strong lord-vassal relationship between the shogun and the gokenin, meaning vassal samurai. The shogun granted privileges called go-on to the gokenin, who, in turn, pledged loyalty and provided military service called hoko, fighting in battles and protecting the shogunate. However, in 1199, only 7 years after the shogunate's establishment, Yoritomo died suddenly. His 18-year-old son, Minamoto no Yori, became shogun, but a power struggle erupted among the gokenin, leading to the downfall of many influential figures. By taking control of the unrest, Yoritomo's wife, Hōjō Masako, and her father, Hōjō Tokimasa, strengthened their influence within the shogunate. In samurai society, a widow often assumed the role of household head after her husband's death. Deeming Yori unfit to rule due to his reckless behavior, Tokimasa and Masako deposed him in 1203, replacing him with his 11-year-old brother, Minamoto no Sanetomo. Under the pretext of supporting the young shogun, Tokimasa assumed power. The position is called shikin, similar to the second system for young emperors in the court. As Tokimasa's power grew, his wife, Lady Maki, conspired to assassinate Sanetomo to install her son-in-law as shogun. Masako and her brother, Hōjō Yoshitoki, uncovered the plot and exiled Tokimasa to Izu, securing their dominance over the shogunate. Yori, who had been exiled, was later assassinated by Hōjō assassins. Sanetomo, increasingly disengaged from politics and indulging in poetry and Kyoto culture, was assassinated in 1219 by Yori's son, Kugyo. Kugyo was swiftly executed by Hōjō forces, ending the Minamoto lineage. With this, the Hōjō clan took full control of the shogunate, though they refrained from appointing themselves shogun to avoid backlash from the gokenin. Instead, they installed a distant relative of Yoritomo, Fujiwara no Yoritsune, as the fourth shogun at the age of 8, continuing the practice of appointing young figurehead shoguns. The imperial court versus the shogunate. Discontent with the shogunate's dominance, Go-Toba Joko, a retired emperor, issued an imperial edict in 1221 calling for the overthrow of Hōjō Yoshitoki. He rallied disaffected samurai and warrior monks. Though initially shocked, the Kamakura government was galvanized by Hōjō Masako's impassioned speech, reminding them of Yoritomo's past benevolence. Inspired, the Gokkenin mobilized and marched on Kyoto, amassing an army of 190,000 warriors along the way. In contrast, Go-Toba Joko's forces were significantly smaller, leading to a swift Kamakura victory. Following the triumph, the shogunate exiled Go-Toba Joko to Oki Island, Tsuchimikado Joko to Tosa, and Juntoku Joko to Sado. This event marked a power shift, with the shogunate surpassing the imperial court in authority and extending control over Western Japan as well. The peak of the Kamakura shogunate. After the victory over the imperial court, the Kamakura shogunate established the Rokuhara Tandai in Kyoto. This institution was responsible for guarding and monitoring the imperial court, maintaining public order in Kyoto, and handling military and judicial affairs. Furthermore, in 1232, Hōjō Yasutoki, the third shiken, enacted the Goseibai Shikimoku. This was a warrior code consisting of 51 articles, which codified the customs of the samurai society and judicial precedents established since the time of Minamoto no Yoritomo. By the time Hōjō Tokiyori became the fifth shiken in 1246, it was discovered that factions opposed to the ruling Hōjō clan, whose power had been passed down from Hōjō Tokimasa, were plotting a rebellion. After eliminating these opposing forces, Tokiyori firmly established an unshakable political foundation as shiken. In 1252, he exiled Fujiwara no Yoritsugu, the fifth shogun, to Kyoto for his involvement in the recent unrest. As his successor, the shogunate welcomed Prince Munetaka, the eldest son of Emperor Go-Saga, as the new shogun. This marked the establishment of the first imperial shogun. Subsequent shoguns also came from the imperial family, which significantly improved relations between the shogunate and the imperial court. However, this also led to the further concentration of power within the Hōjō clan, resulting in an increasingly autocratic rule. Changes in the lives of the common people. During this period, the lives of the people also saw significant changes. Many samurai built residences in their rural domains, where they had farmers cultivate newly developed land. The rights of Jito were strengthened, leading to the expansion of cultivated land. This was achieved through land reclamation, the adoption of double cropping, and the use of oxen and horses for farming. Agricultural tools such as sickles and hoes became widespread, and the use of fertilizers improved agricultural productivity. Additionally, a greater variety of crops began to be cultivated, including indigo for dyeing, paper mulberry for paper production, perilla for lamp oil, and tea. Specialized craftsmen, such as blacksmiths for agricultural tools, dyers, carpenters, and artisans, also emerged. In commerce, regular markets were held 3 times a month in temple precincts and at transportation hubs. These markets sold local specialty products and goods brought in from distant regions. Small retail shops also began to appear. The use of Song dynasty coins imported from China gradually spread, leading to the development of a monetary economy and the emergence of moneylenders. With the increase in trade, land transportation and maritime trade flourished. Cultural and artistic developments. In the field of art, the warrior ethos influenced a bold and dynamic artistic style, leading to the creation of powerful Buddhist statues and sculptures. In literature, works such as The Tale of the Heike, which depicts the decline of the Heike clan, and Azuma Kagami, a chronicle written in diary form detailing the history of the shogunate, were produced. Additionally, the Kanazawa Bunko, the oldest surviving samurai library, was established as a private collection. In Buddhism, many new sects emerged, including Jodo-shu, Jodo-shinshu, Jishu, Nichiren-shu, Zen, Rinzai-shu, and Soto-shu, all of which continue to this day. The Mongol Invasions. The Mongol Empire, founded by Genghis Khan, became the largest empire in world history, extending its rule across the Eurasian continent. Due to its vast size, his descendants divided the empire among themselves. Kublai Khan, who gained control over the eastern territories, established the Yuan dynasty in 1271 and soon began demanding Japan's submission. Using Goryeo, which had already become a vassal state of the Yuan, Kublai sent official letters to Japan. However, Tokimune, who was the shikin at the time, deliberated with the imperial court, which held authority over foreign affairs, and decided that no response should be given, continuing to ignore the demands. Furthermore, reports from the fallen southern Song detailed the brutality of the Mongol Empire, prompting Tokimune to unite the Kamakura samurai forces. He ordered the Gokinin of Kyushu to strengthen coastal defenses in preparation for an impending Mongol invasion. In 1274, the Yuan forces, approximately 30,000 troops, finally launched their first invasion, landing in northern Kyushu. About half of these forces were Korean troops from Goryeo. The Yuan army first attacked Tsushima and Iki. The Japanese army fought to the death, and most of the island's residents were massacred. The Yuan army then landed in Hakata. Although the Japanese struggled against their battle tactics, warriors such as Kikuchi Takeshiga and Takezaki Suenaga inflicted heavy casualties on the invaders. Eventually, the Yuan forces retreated, as this attack was primarily intended as a reconnaissance invasion. Yuan dynasty sent emissaries in 1275 and again in 1279, but the shogunate executed them. In 1281, 11 years after the first invasion, the Yuan dynasty launched a second invasion with a force of 140,000 soldiers, including troops from the former Song dynasty and Goryeo. This time, however, Japan had strengthened its coastal defenses. The Japanese prevented Yuan forces from making landfall, forcing them to remain at sea for nearly 2 months. Then, on a fateful night, a massive typhoon struck, causing devastating losses to the Yuan fleet. The surviving Mongols retreated, leaving behind approximately 100,000 stranded soldiers, who were subsequently massacred by the Japanese samurai forces. This powerful storm came to be known as Kamikaze Divine Wind, reinforcing the belief that Japan was a land protected by the gods. The fall of the Kamakura shogunate. As land inheritance continued to divide estates among multiple heirs, each Gokinin's landholdings became smaller, leading to economic hardship for the samurai class. The samurai who fought against the Mongols demanded land rewards from the shogunate. However, since the Mongol invasions were defensive wars, no new territory was acquired, leaving insufficient land to distribute. Moreover, Japan had to remain on high alert for another possible Mongol invasion, requiring continued military readiness. This increased the burden on the Gokinin, causing widespread exhaustion. As a result of the Mongol invasions, the Hōjō clan further strengthened its authority. However, by 1316, when Hōjō Takatoki became shikin, he had become indulgent in luxury, fueling resentment against the shogunate's autocratic rule. At the same time, bandit groups, referred to as Akuto, who were outside the control of both the shogunate and the imperial court, became increasingly active. The shogunate failed to suppress them effectively, leading to a gradual decline in its authority. Even before the Mongol invasions, the imperial court was in a state of dynastic dispute known as Ryoto Tetsuritsu, where two rival bloodlines alternated in ascending the throne. In this context, Emperor Go-Daigo, the 96th emperor, sought to end this system and restore imperial rule. However, the Kamakura shogunate stood in his way, prompting him to plan its overthrow. His first two attempts at rebellion were discovered by the shogunate, and after the second failed attempt, he was exiled to Oki Island. However, Go-Daigo remained resolute and seized an opportunity to escape his captors. With his return, powerful Gokunin such as Ashikaga Takauji turned against the shogunate. Takauji led an attack on the Rokuhara Tandai, the shogunate's administrative center in Kyoto, while Nita Yoshisada captured Kamakura from the east. With Kamakura under siege, Hōjō Moritoki, the last regent, and Hōjō Takatoki, head of the Hōjō clan, committed suicide, marking the fall of the Kamakura shogunate in 1333. Thus, the Kamakura period came to an end.